Welcome to the tilt. It is 9/11, September 11th, 2025. I was just out in the shop and I was going to record this from there today. But this camera doesn't do great with indoor lighting, so we're going to have to try that a different day. So as we talk about what's going on today, today's 24 years since 9/11. And, you know, as we think about that, it's really a wound that's nearly healed. You go back, asking ChatGPT, almost all of the operations that were initiated as a result of the attacks of 9/11 are completely wound down. Like, it's a wound that's nearly healed for our country. But yesterday, I think we got a new kind of wound. By all appearances, it looks like Charlie Kirk was assassinated for sharing his politics, and maybe most importantly, that those politics were backed up by his faith and where he grounded them. But he was asked not long ago in an interview, what do you want to be remembered for? And he said he wanted to be remembered for being courageous in his faith. Now, for some people that aren't as aware of who he is Charlie Kirk's 107th most popular political figure in the U.S., according to YouGov. But what that doesn't express is how popular he is with young people. So, if you think about the tilt that I did, was it yesterday, the day before, when we talked about Harvey Milk and his coordination with the Beverage Distributors Union and all the brilliance of that move. Regardless of whether or not you agree with Harvey Milk, you can say, wow, that guy really was brilliant in that strategy. But if you listen to Charlie's talks, and if you agree or not with his philosophy, he built his organization and his life on a particular philosophy. And unlike most of us, he then stood on stages around the country defending his philosophy, both how he lives his life and his faith. And at times he would even say, like, hey, I fell short of the standard. But he was always expressing why he believed the way he did and defending it. But the thing is, it's a new kind of wound that our country just got. And I don't know how our country's going to heal from this wound, but I have faith it's going to heal. But it's going to be different than you think, because most of you listening, I imagine, are around my age. But what we may not be thinking about is people, especially ages like 18 to 30. These people have grown up politically, and whether they agreed or disagreed with him, he's been a part of their political journey and growth. And so this is going to be different than the past. So rest in peace, Charlie. Thank you for being bold and sharing your faith. And I think it's an example to a lot of us about, regardless of what kind of work that we do, that we should be able to confidently share our whatever your faith is and be able to confidently ground it. But message of the Daily Tilt is, how do we take these things going on around us and be able to make some good use of them? And what can we learn from it? And what can we take away from it? Well, yesterday I mentioned this quote. I'm going to talk about it a little bit and how I think it applies to what we're seeing in the world yesterday, and I think what we're going to see in the days to come. You can resign in protest. This is the line from Ryan Holiday's book, Do Good, Do Right Now. Right Thing Right Now is the name of the book. You can resign in protest. You can call them all bastards. You can damn the whole world is corrupt and broken. Just know that in doing so, you may put yourself out of the running to be of service to anything but your own sense of superiority. So, here's the thing. People have been celebrating the downfall of their opponents in life and politics for millennia. This is not uncommon. It's normal that people do this. But in the past, when you would do that, you might think about it, process, etc., and your better angels would win out over time. But your better angels win out because it's like, hey, even though that terrible thing happened, I can still see they're a fellow human, even after the heat of the moment wears off. But, and in fact, back then you could make the most bold declarations and change your thoughts and opinions later on. But today, you have an opportunity to express yourself in a way that stays concrete forever. And what I would encourage anybody who's expressing any level of animus about this tragedy is you're probably not going to feel that way forever. You might not feel the way you feel now politically forever. But what you're doing when you're putting things out there, think about it, you're putting it out there for everyone, forever shareable, permanently concrete, forever, like carved in stone. It never goes away. And when you do that, I think it's a good reason to go back to our quote, and I'm just going to read the end of it. Just know that in doing so, you may put yourself out of the running to be of service to anything but your sense of superiority. See, celebrations like that take you out of the ability to effectively contribute to any future, or at least any future for a large group. You might get a small group of people to rally around you, but that's not going to produce change. And one of the things that I think can happen is there are online personalities who are different versions of grievance peddlers. You know, they could be somebody who complains about fast food or whatever, but there's a bunch of them in politics. And some political person might be able to say something online, and net, right or wrong, they might end up with more clout and juice from it. But the problem is the people who are copying them are people who are going to ruin opportunities, who need to have a job, who need to build a career to provide for a family and put a roof over their head. And then they mimic the thing that somebody else is doing that's making them millions of dollars, not realizing that it's going to blow up their personal strategy. Now, maybe that's a conversation for another day of don't try to get where you're going by mimicking someone else's strategy. But I would just have everybody take a breath and be able to think about, when has there ever been a time that you were served by enjoying the downfall of an opponent? It's a challenging question. I've certainly had my fair amounts of disagreements and all of that, but when I gave up this idea that because somebody did something bad to me, or I thought they did something bad to me anyway, incidentally, there's many things people have done to me that I thought were bad, I wouldn't trade for all the money in the world because of the life I have now. That couldn't have happened if they didn't do that thing. So that is one thing to keep in mind. You could be complaining or upset about something or having joy or glee about your opponent's downfall, only to find out that maybe that's what put the most important person ever in your life. Sorry guys, I walked through a spider web earlier, now it's getting in my face. So, I see it flying off my hat. Does 8K pick that up? So, I don't think you ever benefit from enjoying an opponent's downfall, and I think you benefit, like you don't benefit from, you actually begin to harm yourself publicly if you take joy in your expression about somebody else's downfall. And the problem that I would have you consider is if you've got a group of people around you and you're hearing this and you're saying, oh my gosh, not my group, they really all enjoy when we see our people we don't like have terrible things happen to them. Well, then what happens when that group doesn't like you? And consider that's the group of people you're surrounding yourself with all the time. Might be a good time to pick your head up and just get around a new group of people, because that group of people is probably not going to create much in their life if that's where they dwell. And once again, there are young people that could be looking up to the old person who is a boomer, has their house paid off, has money in the bank, has life insurance and long-term care and 401k, and they're pretty well set, and they could get fired for saying something crazy online. But what you forget when young people mimic that is that baby boomer wasn't going all out of line. They might even gone to protests on the weekends, but they didn't bring that stuff to work. They didn't associate their company with it. And they didn't because they had to build the life they have now. And so what you want to do is look at the traits that got people to where they are, not how they are now. A young financial advisor could watch me and look at Sound Financial Group and what Corey and I built and say, man, it seems like the secret is go out and do a podcast. Or the secret must be grow, just live the way that you want. And if it costs you clients, to heck with them. And what you don't know is everything that goes in behind that, or what it took to get to the place we could have a business like this. And what it wasn't anywhere along the way was enjoying that bad things happen to people that I didn't like. And there's a part of the Bible, I should have pulled it up ahead of recording this, but I'll leave you with this, and I'll try to remember to give you guys the verse tomorrow. Better yet, Marla, please will you find this and just put it on the screen? But there's a Bible verse, and just put the whole verse. I'll misquote it, it's fine. But put it up on the screen. And it's this idea that what you do when you're kind to your enemies is you're heaping coals of shame upon their head. And that one of the things that you can do that actually can cause your opponent to reflect is finding the thing that you hope that they will be blessed in. Pray for them. Whatever your religious path is, take some time out of your day and put thought into good things happening to people that have done bad things to you. I can't tell you how good it feels deep down inside. And that the best way to treat people that have treated you poorly is to treat them well. Anyway, I hope this has been a good way for you to tilt into today, which is going to be weird and different, and every day is new and different. So just take life as it brings it, and then come back here with me tomorrow and we'll tilt back in. All right, More Than Commas community, I'm glad you joined me today on the Daily Tilt. I hope this helped you be able to tilt into your day, get us away from that short form content, build a little attention span. So if you learned something today on the Daily Tilt, share this with one of your friends, and we'll see you here tomorrow.